I'm going to approach this question from a perspective of educating, not criticizing, because at one point I may have had this question too and come at it from this approach, but over the last couple of years of being really hands-on with these families, I've learned, and I would like to share that knowledge with all of you. You can't see the full question here, but this comment is in reference to a family that my community here on TikTok sponsored 2 years ago who had 5 kids and now they have 6. Before going into sponsoring this family, I had preconceptions that when I met the family, I had to put aside. I met the family through one of their teachers. I went to college with one of their teachers, so I had never met them before. The teacher had worked with one of the kids, every day at school. But I had all these ideas of how I could make their lives better. All the things we could give them, all the things that we could teach them. And oh my gosh, what an incredibly privileged and naive point of view that was. I am so fortunate that I have never experienced DV. I am in a place where if I needed to pick up my life, my animals, and everything that was of value to me, I can do that. I have the kind of support here that would allow me to do that. Support via family, friends, but also the support of an education, the support of a driver's license. Working with that family, I got to see firsthand just how many barriers there are for so many people to achieve the most basic of tasks. Sometimes that task for people is getting groceries for their family. Sometimes it is getting them from point A to point B. Sometimes that is getting them enrolled in affordable health care. Sometimes that is getting them to that affordable health care. And sometimes that basic task is just being able to look at their partner and say no. These are things that I take for granted every single day. And I had no idea how lucky I had it until I was faced with how to help somebody who is not as fortunate as I am. I had to take all my preconceived notions and leave them at the door and meet these people where they were. And where they were was with 5 kids who all needed new car seats, who all needed clothes, they needed food and hygiene products. But going back to the car seats, car seats honestly can look like these really interesting contraptions, but they come with a manual. And even though our manual came in dozens of languages, how when you flip through a manual, there's more and more and more languages. The language that the mom of the family was speaking, she was the only other adult in the house at the time, none of those languages were the language that she spoke. But even through all those barriers, that mom reached out for help for her kids. And I can tell you that in the culture that she was raised in, asking for help is incredibly difficult. But she did it because she loves her kids. And while I wish the situation was different for the number of children in the home, it's not. And we meet them where they are. And where they are is with 6 kids and a mom who is doing everything in her power to get over these barriers to improve the lives of her children. There's a lot more I could say about all of this in terms of the barriers that are in place and how we can reduce those barriers, but I'm going to leave it at this. We love people, we meet them where they are, and we put our preconceived notions aside and learn from the situations that we are put in. Being with that family changed my perspective, and while my goal of this video is not to change your perspective, it's just to educate, and since I'm not going to educate by showing the family, I hope that I could share a little bit of perspective with you by telling you about my experience with the family.